Let me tell you something today, ladies and gents. When you look at your life and you look at all of the situations that you're struggling with, whether it is a troubled marriage, whether it's a kid who's gone wild, don't even act like you had them. I've been there. Whether it's a financial situation, whether it's a boss who is beating you down and making you feel like you're nothing, you need to understand that there is possibility behind your door. And if you want to achieve anything in life and you want to be somewhere and you want to do something better than what it is that you're doing now and be something more than what you are today, you need to open up that door and look for that possibility, because I can guarantee you it's there. Concept number 4, always open from the inside out. Things don't change in our external until they change internally. The great literary philosopher Henry David Thoreau once wrote, "Things do not change, we change." There are too many of us in life who sit around and who wait for our situations to change. We wait for our husbands to change whenever he wasn't going to change in the first place. We wait for our children to change whenever, if you've raised them the best way that you could, put them in God's hands and leave them there. Some of us expect for the people in our office to change, the people who always talk about other people, the people who come to work and just spend all day surfing the internet and filing their fingernails and trying to look pretty and dressing to the nines and trying to impress other people and putting a whole lot of workload on you. You can't change those people. But there's someone that you can change, and there's something that you can change, and the thing that you can change is you. I had a very interesting experience with this concept back in 1997. During October of 1997, my husband was giving his first charge as a pastor. We were young. Well, we're still young, but we were younger back then. He was given his first charge as a pastor, and we were so excited about it. We went to the church, got up early that morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Monday morning, we took off work so we could go down to the church. So excited. We drove down to this rural area in Willard, North Carolina. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it or not, but that is country. We opened the door to the church, and for the first time in my life, I felt that God had made a mistake. I felt that God had made a mistake, if never before. We opened the door. There were broken pews inside the church. There were cobwebs up everywhere. There was no running water. There was no working bathroom facility. There was no heating and cooling system. There was no carpet. You know those fine churches that y'all like to go to and the fine padded pews and all of those things? There was none of that. So I was assured that me, with my professional, dainty little self, was not supposed to be there. God had made a mistake. Or had he? That was exactly where I needed to be. And it took me a while to realize that that's where I needed to be, because the Jackye and me looked at that situation like a lot of the Vals in you and Stacy's in you and Becky's in you and Susan's in you and all of the you in you look at situations and problems and dilemmas in your life, and you see it as somebody else's problem or somebody else's mistake, something that somebody else needs to attack or challenge or deal with. That problem was specially earmarked for me. The first 3 months that we were there, I went to church with my husband, constantly looking over my shoulder, looking down at the floor, making sure no spiders were crawling on me. Didn't want people to touch me. I forgot to tell you there were 2 members there who were over the age of 70. I forgot to tell you about that. But I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to be there. I felt like this mistake is going to end pretty soon and I'm going to wake up from this terrible dream. I complained about everything. I didn't do anything to help my husband, which I knew was my responsibility in that church. All I did was complain. Till one day I had a wake-up call, and I realized that if I want this situation to change, I got to change something that's on the inside of me. I've got to change my perception of this situation and realize that, no, God, you have not made a mistake. This is not your first. You've been around for a minute or two. And I think that you know how to do this thing. I woke up, I got off my pedestal, and I decided to go to work. And whenever I began to work with my husband and work with the members of this church went from nothing to something mighty and great. And it almost seemed like it happened overnight. But how many of you know that nothing changed in that church until something changed on the inside of me?